Good afternoon, everybody. Good afternoon. It's so good to be here with you again in 2022. Happy New Year. First time we're meeting again. So let's just wait for another minute or so for us to start. And in the meantime, relax, feel yourself on your chair, on your sofa. Just start to relax your body, quiet your mind. Get into this higher energy, this higher place, a place of peace, a place of quietness, stillness. Place that you can feel every sense. You can feel every cell of your body, and your mind elevates. It goes higher and higher. Feel tranquil, relaxed, confident. In this place there is no fear, there is no judgment, there is no distinction. So let's in this place elevate our thoughts to our Master Jesus, asking for His guidance, for His wisdom, for His light, and especially for His love. So we can gather today in peace, in the name of the universal language of love. Thank you so much, everybody. Just gonna turn on the music here, or turn off the music so we can make a start. Very, very good. So welcome. It's been a long time. I think we all had our deserved break from the end of last year, and our Spirit Center is now officially back. Today is our first day back online, and at least for this part of the year, for the initial phase, our English lectures will remain online until further notice. We all hope, I'm sure the whole community is watchful to see how things developed, how things ease, and eventually the whole community, the whole Spirit Center committee is working hard to make sure we can actually start to meet physically at Meadow Park. But before any delays, I would like to introduce the topic for today's reflections, for today's learnings and teachings. And today we're going to be talking about the title, Love is the Answer. Love is the answer. Well, I'm sure throughout our memories, throughout our childhood, in school, whatever that school was for you and for me, with our friends, maybe in times that we became much more intimate and there were much more vulnerable discussions taking place, we all had the opportunity to reflect, express ourselves about what love was or is for us. And one thing is guaranteed. If we ask ourselves, if I ask myself, you please do the same, think about it for a second. Whether the meaning of love has progressively changed for you over the course of your life. Does love mean exactly the same to you? Do you understand love the same way now that you did understand love when you were back at kindergarten or at high school, when you perhaps first found your first ever boyfriend or girlfriend, or someone that you had a close affection to. I'm sure for most of us, if not for all of us, the meaning of love has been changing as we mature, as we get older. And it would typically start with a very instinctive feeling that was first ever developed actually with our attachments to our connection to our parents. When we are little toddlers, we develop this incredible attachment to our parents. Obviously, psychologically speaking, depending whether you're a boy or a girl, you can actually get more easily attached to mom or to dad. We're not going to go into those details today. However, regardless, we have a very instinctive love when we are toddlers, when we are little kids. Because certainly we don't think about it, I want to love my dad, I want to love my mom, I want to feel that affection and attachment. It is something that comes from our most basic instincts. Almost an animalistic instinct. Positively speaking, of course. And as we then get older, we go through a phase where we detach ourselves, we break a little bit of that extremely protective and possessive attachment and love towards our mom and our dad, and we get amongst ourselves in society, maybe in our early teens or even earlier than that, when we are 7, 8, 10 years old, in which then love starts to have a bit of a different twist for all of us, very interesting. Eventually we find love through another person. In which we get attracted by, either by the physical characteristics or the whole package, really. And then love suddenly becomes a physical / emotional attachment, attraction to someone else. And we, very early on in life, we formalize an understanding of love that is the love that we feel for our husband, for our wives, back on the days, for our girlfriend, for our boyfriend. And we also learn, because we still remember the love that continues, by the way, of course, the love we feel for our parents, for our close relatives. This sort of strong bond and connection that we have with them. And it will take a while in life, if we ever get there, for us to even further expand the meaning of love from those two initial concepts, the love we feel for our relatives, parents, and the love we feel for someone a third party that we become to be attracted emotionally for. But Jesus comes, or came, or still comes every time we read his words, every time we connect with Jesus. He tells us about a love that is far greater, far more powerful, far deeper than the love or the feeling that we named love. Because that's the other thing that plays throughout human evolution. we start as early kids very instinctive base. We're very instinctive beings. And quickly learn, we develop sensations that then evolves to feelings. And one of the most pure feelings, the apex of all the feelings, is love. Now, the reason why love is so much discussed, taught, and presented by Jesus in all his teachings is because a much wider, deeper, more meaningful understanding and practice of love is necessary for us to reach higher steps in our spiritual moral evolution. Do you know why? Well, the reason is when we start to get out of this very close circle of love, which is basically our husbands or wives or girlfriends or boyfriends, as well as our parents or close relatives, and we start to expand this feeling of caring, this feeling of, I want to help you, I certainly don't want to see you suffer as much as you are, to anybody. No matter who they are, no matter what the color of their skin, no matter what religion they come from, no matter in which country they've been born, no matter whether we think they are good people, bad people, whether in our mind we think they deserve or don't deserve. The love that Jesus came to teach us is the unconditional love, in which we still struggle, really struggle, to grasp, to live, to implement. Because it's not easy, really. But we're not going to be spending time to actually convince ourselves that the love that Jesus came to teach us isn't easy to acquire, to get, to implement, to live through. Because that would be a waste of our time here, really. But instead, let's understand what this love really is about. Because the more we talk about this love, the more we understand, we qualify, we characterize this love, the more we even understand how far we are from this love, how would live through this love would actually feel like, how would our lives perhaps be if we had as the cornerstone of our whole decision-making process, our whole presence in earth, this unconditional love of Jesus. The unconditional love of Jesus is really the one that, unless I see my neighbor comfortable, happy, well, I don't rest. Unless I can see people around me, unless I can see my colleagues, unless I can see people that I have never met before, unless I can see people that I see on the streets, unless I can actually hear and watch and see people in other countries with less suffering, less struggle, we wouldn't rest. What does that mean? Well, we will not be satisfied with our own selfishness, happiness. Meaning, if I'm okay, if I have a good job, if I have, the material possessions that I require to live a comfortable life, if I have health, if all my close relatives, friends are well, that's enough for me. Jesus' love goes way beyond that. It takes any barriers away from where does this love, where does this care and worry stop? He says, look, love your neighbor as you love yourself. And as neighbor, please, let's not understand as the guy that shares the same wall as me, or the guy that lives really just here. Not at all. Jesus used the terminology neighbor as the person that is actually all around us. So we shouldn't rest until we see the struggles of humanity, the struggles of society resolved. But that's a big task, isn't it? It's certainly so big and overwhelming that makes us think, whew, my God, if this is really the aim, oh well, we're far from it. I'm even feel lazy to start. Where do I start? How do I start? Isn't that the question? And it's true. If you look now, this is such a massive task, such a massive, aim. But actually, we can't aim for the peak of the mountain without having to, of course, start from the base of the mountain. The bottom of the staircase. The basic fundamental steps. So we can climb one step after another, after another, after another. And eventually one day, what sounds today really a dream and unachievable, the higher we get, the dream starts to be not that bad anymore. So instead of them talking about this peak, this dream, this wow, this heaven on earth, which truly is, why don't we talk about what the basic steps would be like? Because the basic steps are really, really much closer to you and to me. The basic steps is something we can achieve. And that's how we have to start. Trying to aim for the peak of the mountain instead of going through the first steps first would be equivalent for us when we were 7, 8, 10 years old, trying to enroll ourselves on a university and think that we're going to succeed. How possible would that be? Imaginable, isn't it? So it's the same. We know that very well. In life, we had to go through, let's just take our traditional Western school system in which we go through different grades. Because the more we learn, the easier the next challenge becomes. And then we learn the next challenge and then we move to the next one. It's the same concept here. So let's talk about our level right now. Where do we fit? Well, I guess give it or take, with small variations here or there, because we're not the same exactly, as you know. It would be fair to say that if we could start expanding, perhaps the same care, the same feelings of I care about you, I'm concerned about your well-being, starting from the ones that are not really first our family or not really our relatives or our friends. Or perhaps let me go back a step, perhaps we should start from those. Because I guarantee you that there are people within our extended family, or there are people within our extended, group of friends that we don't really care too much. And they might be needing someone's help and support right now. Isn't that true? Think about it. I can identify perhaps quite a few that I perhaps don't give enough attention or don't give enough, I don't care as much as I care for others. And to an extent, someone could claim that's normal, isn't it? We don't like everybody the same way, do we? True, we don't. That's actually pretty normal. But that's the first challenge, I guess, of the godly love or the unconditional love. Is it's like the word suggests, is not conditional to something. It doesn't ask the question, do you like this person? Yes. If yes, then of course, give him love, attention, care. It's unconditional. Irrespective if you like him, don't like him. What can you do to make his situation better? What can we do? And the same concept would apply to when we extend, of course, our field of influence, and we go now completely outside of our close friendships and the contact that we have with our close relatives or family. When we see the colleagues at work, we see people that we meet in the streets, if we pay enough attention, we will notice who is actually struggling. And sometimes it doesn't take a lot, really. Sometimes, hey, good morning, how are you doing today? Person might feel a bit flat. Having that discussion, looking at the person in the eye, trying to, if you can, if you see an opportunity, to pronounce words that are encouraging, that gives people hope. Stop actually propagating negativity. That is the fundamental basic steps that we can all do. Right? And when we do those, and when we try hard, when we put effort, focus, attention to a certain objective, and especially if we can notice when we meet this someone that we've made a small change in his or her life. There was a tiny little benefit. Maybe I haven't changed his or her situation completely. Maybe there's still a lot to do. Maybe there is still a lot of struggle. But at least I was able to break the cycle of negativity and put a positive thought in his or her mind. That's how it starts. And we all can do that, irrespective of whether you feel yourself capable of having these discussions, of helping. Because the other thing is, don't underplay yourself. We all have incredible abilities if we believe in ourselves. We all can do a little bit. So I hope these reflections can make you and me, because I'm on the same journey, no different to you. Hope that these reflections can make all of us see outside of our windows a field of opportunities to practice kindness, to practice the approach I care for you. How about that? So let's take that as our homework for the week. And hopefully what we will find by doing those tiny little steps is that the happiness that we start to experience is also unconditional. Because that small moment of happiness is not conditional to how much money we have in the bank, which car do we drive, what exactly is our health condition right now. It's just a more fulfilling and true experience of happiness. Let's all try our best That's all we can do. All right? So at this time, I thank you guys for being here with us, with me, for listening to these reflections. And let's at this stage close our eyes. Let's do our final prayer. Let's thank God, thank Jesus, thank our guardian angels for everything, for giving us the space of mind, the calmness and the quietness of spirit and soul, for us to be able to reflect, for us to be able to be with ourselves and grow, learn a new thing, that motivation to change the inertia of our mundane lives. Let's ask for peace throughout this week, for balance, and that we all can do as much as we can for others as we do for our family and for ourselves. Thanks God, thanks Jesus. Thank you guys. Have a wonderful week, and I'll see you guys around next time. Bye bye.